those other liberal type and radical types that were broadcasting there, but everybody waited for Bob Grant. In fact, in the old neighborhood near City Line, where Brooklyn is separated from Queens, the home of Cypress Plumbing and Heating Supply, the old Italian men used to sit out on the veranda sipping their espresso, listening to the Bob Grant Show. And I know that Perry Berger, the guru of plumbing supplies there at Cypress Plumbing and Heating Supply, has been one of those tried and true Bob Grant listeners. And let me tell you, he played it in his showroom, where he had every imaginable Elger bathroom fixture under the sun. And if you couldn't see it in his showroom there at 3304 Fulton Street, all you had to do is go across the street. He's got a block-long warehouse, all the plumbing supplies imaginable, and he'll deliver. Don't even consider going to a home center where inventory and the range of color, style, and sizes are limited. You could end up with a rain check instead of a new sink. Cypress can help you plan a new Elger bathroom, offering a full range of sizes, styles, and designs, and they deliver to boot. So don't put off the best thing you can do for your house and your family. Call Cypress at 1718, write it down, 1718-235-1000, and find out how to get to 3304 Fulton Street today. That's 1718-235-1000. Hey, old-timers, you know how to get to City Line. It's the new folks, your grandchildren and children, that need to get the directions. And find the largest Elger distributor in the tri-state area, Cypress Plumbing and Heating Supply. Let's go to Rich, who's calling from Riverside. I'm sorry, hold on a second, Rich. We have to go to John Del Giorno. I was sort of jumping out of sequence there. John, I know that there must be traffic tied up into knots. People, having heard me read the official statement as I have on a few occasions in which management announces that the long-term relationship with Bob Grant here at WABC is over. It's been terminated by mutual agreement, and they wish Bob well in his future endeavors. But I know there are probably cars that have pulled off on the roadside, either fuming or just sobbing. Yes.
Well, looks like our weather is really going to start to improve for tomorrow. However, into this evening, there will be a few breaks in the cloud cover, but still a lot of clouds and windy with a slight chance for a little light rain. However, tonight turning clear, winds will diminish. We'll cool down to 41 for our low with some 30s on a few suburbs. Beautiful day ahead for Thursday. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy up to 64. Scattered showers, windy, 65 on Friday. I'm Brent Bass from the Weather Channel.
Having it all. Sounds nice as a concept, but is it really possible? It is if you visit your nearby Subaru dealer. That's where you'll find the all-wheel drive Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon. With the Outback, you get all the rugged durability of a sport utility, plus all the riding comfort of a passenger car. But that's not all, because every new Subaru we build is equipped with all-wheel drive, from our legacy sedan to our Impreza Coupe to our sporty SVX, so you get maximum traction in all driving conditions. Add in available anti-lock brakes and standard dual airbags, and you've got all the safety you could ever hope for. But what's all this going to cost? Not much at all. In fact, you can enjoy the beauty of all-wheel drive starting at around $16,000. Your Subaru dealer has all the details.
For a great lease on an Outback, see a New York, New Jersey Subaru dealer. Say Paul Hogan sent you.
Price based on Impreza Coupe MSRP without ABS. Dealer price may vary. Always wear your seatbelts.
Commercial-free music. In heavy trading today, the stock. Do you feel like the bouncy ride in your car is starting to throw more than just you out of whack? Are you finding the front end of your car's nose diving on quick stops? Or maybe you just seem to be bouncing all over the place after going over a bump.
Bottom of the fourth here.
If this is happening to you while you're in your car, it could mean you have worn shocks, and it's probably a good time to visit Midas Auto Systems experts for a complete inspection of your car's suspension system.
Is the caller there?
Midas's highly trained auto systems experts will pinpoint the exact problem.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic.
Then Midas will make the necessary repairs, and you'll be rolling smoother than ever. If this is what bad shocks and struts can do to your radio, imagine what they can do to your tires. Midas Auto Systems experts. What can we do for you today?
Now, at participating stores, Midas Auto Systems experts are giving you 50% off the regular price of your second shock and or strut. This discount doesn't apply to strut installation or other needed parts or services.
Well, I'm standing now in a shopping mall asking people which form of heat they use in their house, oil heat or gas heat. Now, here's a woman right now with her teenage daughter. Ma'am?
Let's go, Mom. Wait, honey. What can I do for you?
Tell us, do you use oil heat or gas heat in your home?
Where's the camera?
This is radio, ma'am.
Oh, let's go, Mom. Well, we use oil heat. We just switched from gas.
Oh, you did? Now, why was that?
Well, because you save a lot of money using oil heat around here. Gas heat's expensive. Mom, are you sure there isn't a hidden camera?
Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Okay, was the money the only reason you switched from gas?
Oh, no, we didn't care for their service. And it's not like you can just call another gas company. I see the camera hiding in that water fountain.
Oh, I wish I was dead.
Okay, anything else, ma'am, before your daughter goes screaming into the parking lot?
Well, we feel very safe with oil heat, and, oh, can I say hi to my neighbor?
No.
Mom. And to my mother. Look, Ma, it's me, Carolyn. And I'm wearing that scarf you gave me, see?
Okay, cut. Economical, efficient, safe oil heat. Today's oil heat.
It's just better. How's my hair?
Please, Mom.
We need more mousse. Brought to you by the Metropolitan Energy Council.
5:55, and let's face it, political junkies have always loved the Bob Grant Show, getting all antsy. Couldn't wait until the presidential campaign came down the pipe, but now you'll have to be weaned off of Bob Grant, as he's mutually agreed to depart WABC. But there is a book out there written by a person named Anonymous, a novel about the primary season that's still the talk of the nation. Now, with over 1 million copies in print and over 10 weeks at the top of the New York Times bestseller list, Primary Colors might give you a little bit of that dose of that politics that you need to consume. It's the hilarious story of a presidential campaign flying by the seat of its pants and frequently caught with its pants down. Primary Colors by Anonymous. Publishers Weekly calls it the definitive political novel for those uneasy times. The Washington Post says it's written perfectly. And the New Yorker cheers. Congratulations, Anonymous, whoever you are. Primary Colors, read it and find out why it is without a doubt the biggest winner of this primary season. Primary Colors is available at bookstores now from Random House. Back to the phones we go, and I beg forgiveness, Rich, for having cut you off before traffic.
That's okay, Curtis. A lot of things have been said. I've been hanging for well over an hour now, and I don't want to repeat them. The one thing I will say, I find it strategic, I find it reprehensible, I find it so typical that what these guys are doing, is these suits are doing, as the woman said before, is they take and they do something as scurrilous as this, and then they send out a good guy to give out the news, and somehow, I guess, I don't know, I don't want to pick on you because you're the guy that's here, but I would sure like to see these management people sitting there right now, and I'd like to know the who, what, when, where, why, and how of how this thing went down. I think that the station, I don't know, has lost the credibility. I think it's Walt Disney and that empire that really has lost the credibility. But it would be good if somehow the details and the facts would come out instead of this two-line statement that's supposed to gloss over everything and talk about mutual agreement.
Well, I'll tell you, Phil Boyce did want to be able to read this statement and then obviously handle some of the calls. I believe a decision was made beyond him at the upper levels of management that he not do so. He's been under siege. I mean, he hasn't been able to get out of his office without the phone ringing constantly. You can imagine, for all of you who are calling here to be heard over the airwaves, the many supporters of Bob Grant in the field of media, the many people that he's met all throughout the nation, other talk show producers and program directors that he's had to answer calls for. But I'm sure in the future, as you know, he's got Ask the Program Director segments upcoming, that he'll be able to probably share with you some of the nitty-gritty details.
Let me just say this. You know how Bill Clinton says you got to deny it, you got to stall it, and then you just say it's old news. Don't you think that what Walt Disney and ABC is doing today is basically the same thing?
No, Rich, to be honest, they all recognize the power and the strength of Bob Grant and the legacy that he leaves behind here at WABC. I think they understand that an atomic bomb has been dropped, and I don't necessarily know if in making the decision that they thought that far ahead and tried to determine what kind of status we'd be in the near future. All I can say to you, though, is, Rich, is what Bob Grant has told me over the years, is that the power of talk radio must persevere, because it gives all those average men and women an opportunity to speak, like you, who would never be heard of normally, whose editorials might never appear in the local newspapers, whose words might have no significance at a town hall meeting or in the back room, smoke-filled areas where decisions are often made.
One thing I'll say,
yes.
I will listen to ABC, but why don't you take over the program?
No, that's, I'm just doing
See
this.
what you can do, Curtis, because you're a stand-up guy, and I've always liked you. You're on a little late for me, but that's the one guy I would listen to. Thanks for your time, Curtis.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for those kind words. That determination obviously will be made by management in the future. In the meantime, I will help field your calls. And let me let all of you know, Bob Grant has not been exiled out of WABC. I'll make sure he gets each and every fax that you send to us at 212-947-1340. That's 212-947-1340. Send it now, and I'll put it in his hands.
Listen to this radio station than any other talk radio station in the nation.
WABC, New York.
It's 6 o'clock. We'll continue.
From ABC News, I'm Tim O'Donnell. A verdict has been reached in the penalty phase of the Menendez brothers' murder trial. We should know momentarily whether the jury in Los Angeles will recommend Eric and Lyle Menendez be sentenced to death or given life in prison for murdering their parents. In San Jose, California, at the trial of the drifter accused of murdering Polly Klaas, the attorney for Richard Davis declared in opening statements today his client did kill the 12-year-old girl, but he said he didn't rape her. We have an update on violent crime nationwide.
In 1994, the rate of violent crime continued to level off, and property crime declined by 3%. Young persons, males, and blacks were most likely to experience violent crime. Also, persons living in households with less than $15,000 in annual income were more likely to be raped, robbed, or assaulted.
ABC's Beverly Lumpkin at the Justice Department. A gunman remains at large after killing 2 people and wounding 2 others in Middlebury, Vermont today. The shootings occurred at a housing complex, the motive unknown. And near Los Angeles, a gunman's in custody after a shooting that wounded 3 people at a Hughes aircraft plant. He's identified as a former employee, apparently upset about a medical claim. The defense has abruptly rested in the New York civil trial of subway gunman Bernard Goetz. He's being sued for $50 million by one of the 4 people he shot in 1984, Darrell Caby. Goetz says he feared they would mug him. And on Court TV, columnist Jimmy Breslin testified today about an interview he had with Caby.
Does there come a time when you asked him why they were going to rob Goetz?
Was it the place where he looked like easy bake?
Caby was left paralyzed by his wounds. More than 23 million cars and trucks may have bad ignition switches, but Ford says it's too early to issue a recall. It wants to finish its investigation first. The government says it's received some 900 reports of fires involving the Ford switches. You're listening to ABC News.
Our company's got a new product, but I'm not quite sure how to announce it. I know, a newsletter. That's it, one that'll reflect our new product. It might even get us some new business. Then I can get a new house, a new life. But first, I need that new newsletter.
Newsletters? Sure, we can do that. At Pip Printing, we'll help you with design, layout, photo placement, typesetting, and more. Everything you need to create a new newsletter. Maybe even a whole new you. Pip Printing. You'll be surprised at what we can do.
Well, here at Stars, we put more exclusive first-run movies on at prime time than any other movie channel. 3- and 4-star movies, prime time. Which means instead of, say, Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, you'll get to enjoy...
It's party time!
The Mask. For Stars, a better movie channel. To order, call your local cable company, or 1-800-DIRECTV, or 1-800-PRIME STAR.
Stars is a multiplex service of Encore.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get it.
If you've avoided paying your New Jersey state taxes, now's your best and only chance to come clean. No questions asked. Now through Saturday, June 1st, you can pay your back taxes with no penalties, no interest, not even a slap on the wrist. Just pay your debt before the deadline and you're free and clear. If you choose to ignore the amnesty period,
I will drive past your house.
1-800-286-6613. Amnesty ends June 1st, 1996.
One way or another, I'll get ya.
Good evening. It's 48 degrees and cloudy at 6:04. I'm Catherine Smith, WABC News. A 20-year-old Long Island man begged a judge not to send to jail the man who shot him. That man was his own father. The Nassau County judge said he took the son's plea into consideration. However, he could not ignore the unlicensed handgun that the father used. So Konstantinos Papadopoulos was given 6 months in jail for shooting his son in the jaw and chest during an argument over the son's use of drugs. By the way, the son is now off drugs and he's in college. In a sudden change in strategy, Bernie Goetz's attorney rested his case after calling just 2 witnesses and not calling the subway gunman back to the witness stand. Ron John Kuby, the attorney for Darrell Cabey, says the jury got an earful the first time around.
Presented the man as he actually is, a vile, smirking bigot who laughs and coldly describes how he attempted to kill his victims.
The last defense witness was columnist Jimmy Breslin. He described a hospital interview with Cabey, during which Cabey said he and his 3 buddies decided to rob Getz because he looked like easy bait. Cabey's attorney rested so the jury could soon get the $50 million civil lawsuit. Caroline McCarthy says it's a case of saving the lives of cops and innocent victims. McCarthy's husband was killed, her son seriously wounded by the Long Island Railroad gunman. She spoke today in Albany on behalf of an assault weapons ban.
It's mostly our police that are gunned down with these guns. We as victims are here and there. And yes, we have to suffer the aftermath. But it doesn't matter who dies by these guns. Your families, your communities are the ones that are left. If we can save one life, believe me, I think it's worth it.
The bill working its way through the state assembly would ban such weapons as the AK-47s and the Uzi submachine guns, as well as copycat military-style weapons with ammo clips that could hold more than 10 rounds. The New York law would go beyond the national ban on assault weapons. A New Jersey elementary school principal has been charged with sexually assaulting the 16-year-old boy he was mentoring in a program for abused and neglected children. 50-year-old John Mangan was principal of the Peter Cooper School in Ringwood for the past 11 years. Teachers, parents, students all say they're in shock this afternoon. The students in New Jersey's West Freehold School gave a hero's welcome to 2 children who survived the Oklahoma City bombing. More than 400 people filled the school auditorium today to greet 4-year-old Brandon Denny and his 3-year-old sister Rebecca. They were showered with gifts from the school that adopted them, raising money for the family to help them through the tragedy. Friday, by the way, is the first anniversary of that terrorist bombing. In Milwaukee this afternoon, the Brewers beat the Yankees 8-4, and at Shea, Houston beat the Mets 7-5. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 70 points to close at 5,549. The WABC Weather Channel forecast: mostly cloudy, windy, and cool overnight with a slight chance of rain and a low 41. Tomorrow should be mostly sunny, warming up to 64, and Friday scattered showers and windy with a high 65. Currently it's 48 and cloudy. Tonight at 7, Lynn Samuels, then Steve Malsberg for Jay Diamond at 10. I'm Catherine Smith, WABC News. The news is brought to you by Staten Island University Hospital. It's 6:07, and Curtis Sliwa is next.
If you or a loved one has a brain tumor, you'll recognize these terms: brain metastases, meningioma, acoustic neuroma, glioblastoma, astrocytoma. Now, a breakthrough procedure called stereotactic radiosurgery is being used to treat these conditions simply without surgery or anesthesia. At Staten Island University Hospital's Radiosurgery Center, a pencil-thin beam delivers high radiation doses precisely to brain tumors while protecting healthy tissue. In the hands of their skilled physicians, radiosurgery is an effective treatment for most brain metastases, stopping their growth or causing dramatic shrinkage, and patients are usually discharged the next day. Their technique, based on years of accuracy and experience, can be effective for both those newly diagnosed and for those previously treated with surgery or radiation. For more information, call Staten Island University Hospital's Radiosurgery Center at 1-800-285-4584. New York's experienced Radiosurgery Center. Call 1-800-285-4584.
For a limited time, your tri-state Mitsubishi dealers are pulling out all the stops so you can go get an Eclipse for $199 a month. 30 months.
Go get an Eclipse.
Only $199 a month. And for just 30 months.
Go get an Eclipse.
The most fun you can have on 4 wheels. Eclipse RS. With dual airbags, power steering and brakes, FM AM stereo, tilt wheel, remote side view mirrors, and more. Just $199 a month. 30 months. So what are you waiting for?
Go
right now. With Eclipse at $199 a month, your tri-state Mitsubishi dealers are pulling out all the stops. So you can
go get an Eclipse.
Only $199 a month, just 30 months. For a limited time.
Go get an Eclipse.
$199 a month, only at your tri-state Mitsubishi dealers. Total lease payment $59.70, $29.69 to a contract. Sunday's New York Times has details.
Washing windows on the 36th floor. How'd I get talked into this?
Relax, Earl. As long as Louie hangs on to that support rope down there, we're fine.
Yeah, but if Louie lets go of that rope, this platform we're standing on will fall over onto that terrace down there. We'll bust through the floor below that into where the pudding company is and land in one of their gigantic vats.
What could ever make Louie let go of that rope?
What's that?
The New York State Lotto jackpot is now $25 million.
Louie? We do not let go of that rope.
That's $25 million.
Butterscotch. I hate butterscotch.
New York Lotto. Hey, you never know.
In case you missed the televised lottery drawings, call 976-2020 within the 212-718-516 and 914 area codes to find out the New York Lottery winning results. All calls are 40 cents. Call 976-2020, the only official lottery number.
This is Curtis Sliwa with the responsibility of letting all of you know the bad news that has befallen the greatest audience in the world that radio has ever known, all of you, and the tried and true supporters of the king of talk radio in this town, and definitely has established a place for himself in the annals of talk radio, Bob Grant. Management earlier in the day issued this release, and it says, quote, "As you know, we've had a long-term relationship with Bob Grant. That relationship has been terminated by mutual agreement. We wish Bob well in his future endeavors. The King of Talk Radio will be no more here at WABC. And if I can share with you, as some of you have already shared with us, your memories of the King, he gave me my first chance in talk radio. I was just a blue-collar working-class kid coming out of the Bronx in Brooklyn, didn't speak the King's English. Got to be honest with you, the suits, they weren't impressed with me at all. Not John Minnelli back then, not the other decision-makers. They were going to put me on the outside looking in. And the King went up and told him, he said, give the kid a chance. He's got something unique. His voice is from the street. We don't normally hear that voice. And he allowed me to substitute for him when he was away on sabbatical. He put faith in me. And I hope today I'm returning a little bit of those favors he bestowed upon me over the years. And let's go to the phones. 212-563-WABC. For those who would like to fax a personal message, either to Phil Boyce, our program director here, or to the King of Talk Radio, Bob Grant himself. I'll make sure personally that they receive it. You can do so by faxing to 212-947-1340. Let's go to Claudia at 613. Good evening, Claudia.
Hello, Curtis. I hope you'll bear with me just a moment while I vent my disgust. This feels like a death in the family. It's an outrage. How stupid is this new management that the #1 talk show host in New York has been silenced? This, to me, smacks of a backstabbing, middle-of-the-night, shameless, spineless Shanghai firing. And I believe that it was purposely concocted to prevent us, his millions of fans, from coming to his aid. And I also believe that the fans have a right to know exactly who's responsible. Is it the politically correct, liberal, left-wing Nazis or the spineless suits at Disney and ABC?
Well, I think the battles that Bob Grant has been involved with over the years have obviously not been so much with management in the various radio stations that he's worked, but rather with the politically correct crowd. And as you know, he's taken on all comers. He's never surrendered. He's never retreated. And after finishing one joust with an adversary, he'd quickly take on another adversary. And he was always prepared to pay the price because of the strong beliefs that he had.
Curtis, I have one more thought that I think a lot of us are feeling. I'm sorry to say this, but I think that Bob is somebody we took for granted. We came to rely on being able to turn on the radio every day in the afternoon and hear him. And maybe we shouldn't have been so cavalier about his always being there.
Well, I think we shouldn't be so cavalier about talk radio, period. Because it is a blessing. It didn't exist years ago. There wasn't a way for the average person to communicate with the masses. And that's why we've got to make sure that what Bob Grant has pioneered in, paving the way, taking the risk, taking the hits, going forward and doing battle and clearing the way for all of us who've benefited because of the battles fought and won on his part, that we make sure that this forum remains open for all of you, whether it's venting from your spleen as you're doing now with your anger towards those who have contemplated and finally moved on removing Bob Grant from the airwaves, or the many future adversaries that you perceive exist out there that may be threatening your way of life, your quality of life, or your right to be heard. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a moment. No one's asking me to do this, but it is sort of ironic that at the tail end of Bob Grant's career here at WABC, a very long, prosperous one, he finally published that book that he had always spoke about, Let's Be Heard. What a fitting tribute. Go out there and purchase that book. Go to your local bookstores. Make sure you get a copy for yourself, for your grandchildren and your children, and for your extended family, because this is all his experiences. These are all the years that he's invested in his craft. And you'll be able to see for yourself how dedicated this man has been, not just for self-improvement, but in making sure that others have an opportunity to be heard also. At 6:16, let's go to John Del Giorno and a Metro traffic update.
There's still going to be some cloud cover around the area early this evening and rather windy conditions, even a slight chance for a little light rain or drizzle. But I've got some good news for you. It'll turn clear overnight tonight. Winds will diminish, and we'll drop down to 41 for a low. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy, very pleasant tomorrow, high up around 64 degrees. Thursday night, partly cloudy in the evening, turning mostly cloudy overnight with an isolated shower possible toward daybreak, a low of 51. And then finally, for Friday, scattered showers and windy with a high of 65. I'm Brent Bass from the Weather Channel.
And Garden State Dining proudly presents New Jersey's finer restaurants.
Estrella del Caribe serves authentic Caribbean cuisine. Try lobster and shrimp franchise, prepared Caribbean style, whole red snapper, and many Caribbean favorites. There's live entertainment at La Estrella del Caribe across from Tops on Route 3 East, Service Road in Secaucus.
Experience a gourmet taste of Europe at Auberge Swiss in Berkeley Heights. Specialties include delicious veal, fresh seafood, and the area's best rack of lamb, and sinful Swiss chocolate desserts. Have your next catered affair at Auberge Swiss, Springfield Avenue in Berkeley Heights.
Les Chiclets Cafe has added Northern Italian and French dishes to their already sensational menu, featuring the finest aged steaks and fresh seafood. Everything from nachos to blackened mahi-mahi are at Les Chiclets Cafe, a casual spot with 4-star quality on River Road in Edgewater.
The Town Square Inn rivals the best New York restaurants, featuring culinary creations on the cutting edge of American cuisine, superb wines, and impeccable service. You'll love the Town Square Inn, very fine dining in an attractive setting located in Chatham.
Drama. 3 nights every week. Nothing can prepare an NBA player for this moment. This moment, driven by the roar of 10,000 voices. Unstoppable. No options. The playbook is closed. A battle between mind and body begins. Now, in a blink of an eye, one man can change the course of a game, a season, a career. This is the moment where heroes are made. And 3 nights every week you can witness these moments. The NBA on TNT every Tuesday and Friday night. The NBA on TBS every Wednesday night. No scripts, no lines, just heart-stopping excitement. The NBA is on TNT and TBS.
Witness the drama as Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers take on the Detroit Pistons tonight at 8 on TBS. It's the 50,000-watt blowtorch of talk and opinion. It's 770 WABC.
And it's 6:20. This is Curtis Sliwa taking you the rest of the way to 7, when we'll be joined by Lynn Samuels. And I've had the misfortune of having to convey a terrible message to all of you, the tried and true listeners to the Bob Grant Show over the ages. And let me read it to you. I know some of you have heard it before, but we've got to be fair to those who are just tuning in, who've just gotten off their work, who are in their car, or finally have made it home, or puttering around their retail establishment. There's an official statement issued by management here at WABC, and it has to do with Bob Grant's broadcasting career here. And it says, quote, "As you know, we've had a long-term relationship with Bob Grant. That relationship has been terminated by mutual agreement. We wish Bob well in his future endeavors." Now, I know some of you have been trying to fax. So many faxes have poured in. You've melted down the fax machine as if it were a nuclear reactor at Chernobyl. We've resupplied it with paper. Lynn Samuel said, hey, you've got to keep filling the paper in, and she's done so. So you can continue to send your faxes to 212-947-1340. That's 212-947-1340. I'll make sure those addressed to Bob go right in his hands, and those addressed to management and Phil Boyce, program director, go right in his hands. Tonight I will be conducting my overnight show from 2 to 5:30, and I will be sitting Shiva. You know how important Bob Grant was to me in my career and to my talk radio listening. I think I'll ask maybe Rabbi Joseph Potasnik to join me from Religion on the Line, because if there is one community above and beyond all others, Jews of all different backgrounds out there know how significant Bob Grant was, because he was not a Jew. He was a Gentile, a righteous Gentile. And all of you should be sitting Shiva tonight in Crown Heights and in Borough Park, all of my friends there in Williamsburg, because you've lost truly a special voice that has been Israel's best friend, that has been the Jews' best friend when they've been constantly under attack. And for all of us, those Gentiles who in the past have taken advantage of Jews through the centuries, truly, Bob Grant has been a champion in making up for the sins of our grandfathers and great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers. That voice, coming to the aid of Israel and Jewish concerns, will be the one most seriously lost for so many. And that's why we'll continue on the overnight show tonight to allow you to vent, to speak, and to sit Shiva. Meantime, those of you in those communities that I mentioned, if you'd like to pay tribute to Bob Grant, you might want to do so with a Matilda teddy bear. Bob Grant's got 4 kids, many grandchildren, and where he lives now in the shore area of New Jersey, many fans and many friends who are going to be flocking to him with their children and grandchildren. And it might be nice if you send a Matilda teddy bear to Bob Grant, you send it with that personalized message, and it'll be a basket full of candies that come with it. Bob always had a sweet tooth. He'll love it. He'll adore those Matilda teddy bears, and then he'll be able to give it to the many kids who come up to him with their parents and grandparents. Now, the way to order that Matilda teddy bear, write the number down, 1-800-29-TEDDY. That's right. Get on the phone, and you tell the designer on the other end of the line, I want a Matilda teddy bear based on these specifications for my good buddy, longtime friend, and partner on the radio, Bob Grant. It's the ideal gift also for the many First Communions and confirmations upcoming. This is the season of weddings and anniversaries and graduations. So you call that number, 1-800-29-TEDDY. And on this occasion, send one to Bob Grant. Send it right here to WABC, because he's still getting his mail here, and he'll definitely appreciate it. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And send a bear that you help create with that personalized message just from you. 1-800-29-TEDDY. Again, that's 1-800-29-TEDDY. Let's go to John from Brooklyn. Good evening, John.
Hi, Curtis. Curtis, I just want to say that I am very, very distraught about the news regarding Bob Grant. It just came as a tremendous shock to me because I just met Bob Grant today. I was at his book signing. I purchased one of his books that he personally autographed, and it was in the Wall Street. The Walden Books Wall Street location, and I can't tell you how great it was to see him in person and to shake his hand. I don't know if he knew about the news at that time, but if he did, he certainly showed no signs of it. I mean, he seemed very friendly, very cordial, very confident. And when I turned on the station today, I was just so distraught. It's terrible.
John, you should have seen when he arrived here at WABC. I have a feeling he knew, but he didn't let on. Some of us had an inkling, an idea of what was going to take place. This man, his chin was jutting out. He was standing up there. You could see the pride. You could see the emotion that he had for all those that he's worked with for so many years, but not a tear, and just a real man's man. You know, some people say, is the guy really like that? What I hear over the mic, the man is everything and anything that you imagine him to be in time of crisis. And boy, you can imagine what kind of a personal crisis he is going through at this point when his recording career, his broadcasting career is on the line.
Well, although we don't know the exact reason that he was fired at this point, somehow my gut feeling is that it has something to do with political correctness, and I think it's time that people realize that there is absolutely no difference between political correctness and censorship. They're one and the same, and political correctness is just a way for people to intimidate people, to fire them from their jobs. It's a reign of terror that's being conducted, and I wish people would rise up against it, and maybe this incident with Bob Brandt will infuriate enough people so that we can really put an end to this political correctness. And maybe
John, we have a responsibility here at WABC, his colleagues. Because if Bob Grant would have cut his veins and arteries, it would bleed WABC. Even after this event of the mutual agreement that is seeing him leaving us at this time, Lynn Samuels, Lionel, Dick Oliver, Ed Koch, the mayor Rudy Giuliani in his Friday appearance, Rush Limbaugh, the Mega Man himself, obviously whoever replaces Bob Grant, Steve Molesberg, Jay Diamond, yours truly, Curtis Sliwa, and all the others, James and Joel, who regularly contribute to the talk radio that's made us the #1 talk station in the nation. We've got to carry on the torch. Bob Grant has paved the way. He's given so many of us an opportunity. He's fought all the good fights and won virtually all of them. And now that he's been TKO'd temporarily, it's up to us to carry on the good fight and make sure the forces of political correctness do not put a lid on the free speech that we've become known for here at 770 AM WABC. Let's go to Eddie from Brooklyn. Good evening, Eddie.
Curtis?
Yes.
Do you know how do you know a good thing? How you can tell a thing is a good thing?
How, ma'am?
When that good thing is gone. When it's gone, then you know it was good. And all I can say is that Bob Grant's termination, horrible word, termination, is ABC's tremendous loss. And wherever Bob Grant is going to go next, and if he wants to, and if he has the spirit for it, whatever, wherever he will go, all of his fans and all of his listeners will follow. And ABC will not be the same. With all due respect to you, Curtis, and everybody else there, there's nobody, no one comes to Bob Grant.
Oh, I don't think there's a question. I've always known that I walk in his shadow, as do the other talk show hosts and hostesses here. And remember, though, the veteran that he is, Edie, that is the correct name, right, Edie?
Right, Edie.
He's been through this before, WMCA, WOR, then exiled, almost like the Jews exiled in the desert. He was exiled to Philadelphia, WWDB.
Curtis, but it's a truly tremendous, kind of like a slap in his face. Not at this time of his life, and not with as far as he's come, and not in the midst of writing a book and trying to, giving out books for this month, 30 books in the month, and in the middle of it all, they just terminated him.
Yes.
I saw him today. I was there today. I made the effort to go over to the Walden Bookstore, and he has heard me before. I've met him with my husband before. He's a very classy person, very classy. I've listened to him from MCA days. That's a long time.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. The man is classy. He's gutsy. There's so much that I could say about him. But all I can tell you is this was not the right thing to do. And as classy as the man is, I'm sure if it would have been mutual, he would have gone on the air himself, and he would have said goodbye in the nicest way that he would have known to say it.
Well, you have the book, Let's Be Heard.
I have the book. I have the signature.
And let's face it, in there...
Bob, if you're listening, we wish you well. Wherever you will go, you can be sure your fans will listen. And ABC has lost... They're at a loss. They will feel it. A good thing, when it's gone, then you know.
No question, we'll be in need of CPR. But, Edie, do me a favor. Encourage others to purchase that book, Let's Be Heard, because therein is the story of Bob Grant. And maybe others will be motivated by his story of struggle and how he's been able to overcome extreme odds time and time again. From that book may come the motivation for a future Bob Grant or two in the future that would benefit the talk radio that so many of us love. At 6:31, this is Curtis Sliwa.
It was nothing short of amazing.
Announcing a national study on the single most important hospital treatment doctors can provide patients today.
I had no idea. medical care is so significant, hospitals have actually shown greater recovery rates and patient satisfaction.
Like a dynamo.
The highly advanced treatment I'm talking about is nothing less remarkable than...
My nurse.
The nurse.
The nurse. The Magnet Award-winning nurses, recognized by the American Nurses Credentialing Center. Sure, you know how important the best doctor is, but did you know how important the best nurse is? And did you know the only hospital in the metro area to receive this national award is Hackensack University Medical Center, the hospital with the best nurses in the country taking care of you. Hackensack University Medical Center. Call 1-800-HMC-MEDICAL.
You know, I never believed in miracles, but I'll tell you what, I believe in nurses.
Tax time making it tough to make ends meet. Time for smart shoppers to take advantage of the great buys at Pathmark this week. Get Nabisco Nilla wafers, 11 to 12-ounce box, regular or reduced fat, only $1.44. That's half price. And Barilla pasta, assorted varieties, 16-ounce box, 4 for just $3 with a smart coupon. Save 30 cents with a smart coupon on assorted varieties of Kleenex facial tissues. 70 to 175-count box. There's up to $81 in smart coupons in this week's Pathmark circular. Remember, you don't cut them out, so you save time and money. Sale ends Saturday, April 20th. Hurry to Pathmark, where it's easy to make ends meet.
All smart shoppers make ends meet. They know Pathmark can't be beat. Shop smart Pathmark where prices are low. The one place to go. Shop smart, shop Pathmark smart. Go global. Global Auto and Truck Depot.
4x4. 4x4. Everybody wants to drive a new 4x4. But who wants to put money down? Okay, so how about a new Jeep Grand Cherokee or Mitsubishi Montero or Isuzu Rodeo? Global's got them all. This week, you can actually get a new Chevy Blazer for $299 a month with no money down. Hey, were you listening? If you've been looking to get a new Jeep Grand Cherokee, Mitsubishi Montero, Isuzu Rodeo, or Chevy Blazer, Global's got them all. And you can drive one of them home for $299 a month with no money down. And with a 24-month lease, your total of payments is just $77.70. See Global's 4x4 ad in Saturday's Star Ledger.
The discounts are deeper at the depot. Global Auto and Truck Depot. Go global and save up to 50%.
Call Global on Route 22 North Plainfield, 1-800-639-2733, 1-800-639-2733. He never sleeps. Why should you? Curtis Sliwa overnights on 770 WABC.
And at 6:34, I sure won't be sleeping tonight into the wee hours of the morning when I can normally be heard every Monday through Friday from 2 to 5:30. Hopefully I'll be joined by Rabbi Joe Potasnik, and we'll be sitting Shiva for the loss of Bob Grant here to WABC. And again, I know many of you are joining us at this very time and have not heard the terrible news. I hate to be the messenger having to give you and bear this news that is as follows. From the management here at WABC, quote, as you know, we've had a long-term relationship with Bob Grant. That relationship has been terminated by mutual agreement. We wish Bob well in his future endeavors, quote, unquote. And as Bob was so apt to do in the performance of his show, he'd rip from the wire a story just breaking. And I guess I have that responsibility today. But a jury in Los Angeles has recommended life in prison for the Menendez brothers. And no doubt Bob would have said something along the lines of, oofa. Too bad they didn't put the juice in their caboose and give them the death penalty. But you look at the Menendez brothers, you see how they have convoluted the criminal justice system. And some of you guys are envious of the hair that they have on their head. Oh, what a mane of hair both those brothers have. And meantime, you who have abided by the laws, you're a rock-ribbed American, you're patriotic, and you're losing hair fast and furiously on your chrome dome. But let me tell you something. Men's Hair Now has determined that genetic traits are the cause of 90% of hair loss cases. And if you have this problem, like many of you do, you better listen up, because Men's Hair Now has developed a new technology, the liquid skin system, to replace lost hair permanently. Now, the liquid skin process secures thousands of individual hairs to the scalp, filling in the area gradually or all at once. It's a natural hair addition for active people. Men's Hair Now can make you look and feel like you never lost your hair. Call 1-800-MHN-9595 for a free consultation. And if you've been to those other phony baloney hair rehab joints and they've given you a bad hair rehab placement, you better give a call to MHN at 1-800-MHN-9595 and put yourself in the hands of Michelle Cipriano and the magic that she can weave into that new head of hair. That's Men's Hair Now, leaders in the field of hair restoration for over 25 years with locations throughout the tri-state area. After you call 1-800-MHN-9595, you can find out more about MHN and their work on the internet, you cyber surfers, at www.menshair.com. And at 6:37, let's return to the phones and to Bill in New York City. Good evening, Bill.
Yes, hi, Curtis. Bob's a man who has a strong ability to shake any firm-held belief with his intelligence, and that's a rare commodity in these days in talk radio. I just would also like to say that the listeners of WABC should boycott anything Disney that goes for Touchstone Films, any licensing that Disney has. Let's be heard, as Bob would say.
You know something strangely and oddly, I think the king of talk radio, Bob Grant, might disagree with you. He never urged a boycott. In all the years I've listened to Bob, and I stand to be corrected, he never urged that you boycott anyone or protest any decision, because he always felt that eventually, through hard work and perseverance, that voice would again find a place out there in the scope of talk radio.
Well, Chris, I understand that, but sometimes we need to hit him where it hurts, and that's exactly where it hurts.
Can I tell you though what would probably happen, Bill, just from a pragmatic, common sense approach? Disney, who owns so many other entities, the last thing on their mind is talk radio. It's not for them the number one provider, if you understand.
Well, maybe the people who buy into property should reconsider what their actions.
Well, let's say they decided, okay, people are upset with us because of a decision that was made about a talk show host who was one of the very best, the all-time greats, Bob Grant. We'll just turn that station into playing stacks of wax. Why even deal with talk radio with all its complexities and controversies? And you realize then there would be no voice available. And you'd only be...
all voice. But what I'm trying to say, Coach, is this is like the last straw. Disney has made some idiotic decisions in the past as well. I mean, this is really apropos for Disney management.
You know, it's not the last straw, because if you look at it, Alan Dershowitz was fired and his supporters got all up in arms. I've been fired here at this station. Lynn Samuels was fired before there was even Disney. And you know something? That the rest of us at some point along the line, according to the king of talk radio, Bob Grant himself, will probably be fired again and again and again. And isn't that what they're telling all of you workers out there? That be prepared for career changes, unexpected bumps in the roads, not having a secure job of 20 years to life, that in your lifetime you may have upwards of 8 career changes? That's what the king told all of us. And we see he has experienced what he has actually spoken about more so than any of us. Let's go to Tony calling from Queens.
Curtis, this is Assemblyman Seminario. Good evening.
Ah, Assemblyman, good to hear you.
Curtis, let me tell you, I was coming down from Albany, and when I heard it, I just couldn't believe it.
Yes.
You know, Bob and I had a little fallout with Mario Cuomo, but you know something? I still love the man, and I have the highest respect for this man that I could ever have for any individual, because he told it like it was, and he didn't care who listened or who agreed or disagreed. And I remember when I first ran for office, I called him late at night when he had the late show, and I met Bob several times before, and I said, Bob, I don't know if you remember, and when I told him where, he remembered the incident, he remembered talking to me. I said, Bob, I decided I want to run for public office. What do you think? And he says, why do you want to run? And I gave him the reasons. And he says, you know, he called me Anthony, because that would, you know, he says, Anthony, I'm gonna make a prediction, and when I don't make many, he says, but when I do, they're always right. You're gonna win. You're not gonna win big. You're gonna win, and you're gonna be there a long time. And I just really love the man. I'll always love him. And whether he's listening or not, I want everybody to know he's one of the few people in my life that I would take a step back for. And I love the man, and I'm so disappointed this happened. And Curtis, what could I say? But I'm sorry.
Assemblyman Tony Seminario,
bless you.
You mentioned one of those things that always seem to amaze the masses about Bob Grant, his immediate ability at memory recall.
Oh, well, unbelievable.
He could have shook your hand in some small corner of East New York and Brooklyn, maybe 2 decades ago. He'll remember the exact location, date, time, and place, and you'll be scratching your head.
Because I got to tell you something else. Even with the controversy him and I had, when the Times took a swipe at me, the New York Times, and he went in their editorial, he crucified them. And I must have got 3 million calls, and then Bob called me, and he congratulated me. I mean, the man is just one in a billion.
And Tony, rest assured that when the Suits contemplated having you substitute as a talk show host and then hire me as a permanent talk show host, they weren't thrilled and enamored with our Brooklynese and our vernacular.
Like it is.
I know, but do you know who always stood up for us, who always went to bat for us, who said, that's the voice of some of the real people out there? Bob Grant.
Because John Manelli told me personally, he says, Bob loves you.
Yes.
And, what else can I say? I mean, I just like many others, and you're going to hear it, Len Samuels is going to hear it, and right down the line. And my God, if we should ever lose Jay Diamond, oh, Christ, Curtis, that'd be a blow by, it'd be unbelievable. I mean, 2 of the most wonderful talk show hosts I've ever encountered in my life. Again,
Tony,
please, Jay, stay with us.
Do appreciate your memories.
And let me tell you about Bob Grant. Bob Grant isn't gone. He'll be back even stronger. That's a prediction I'm making to you, Bob Grant. You're not. It's just one little step backward, and you're going to shoot forward greater than ever. God bless you.
Do appreciate that.
And thank you.
Assemblyman Tony Seminario, you've heard him here many times substituting for the talk show host, Assemblyman of Richmond Hill, Queens. And like everyone else, amazed at the memory recall, instant, as it always was, for the king of talk radio, who would never forget where he met you, the date, time, and place. And even you didn't remember. Wow. It's 6:44.
Your feet work and play hard, so treat them right with Spenco Green insoles and arch supports or Spenco Polysole replacement insoles. Lab proven to deliver superior cushioning and performance and guaranteed for a full year. Try that with any other brand. Spenco Green insoles are available at Foot Locker and other fine retailers. To receive a free gift, a $2 savings coupon, and more information, call Spenco toll free at 1-888-GREEN-IT. That's 1-888-GREEN-IT. Spenco, because your feet deserve the best.
This portion of our show here at WABC is brought to you by Jet Train.
Well, we're back at the airport to find out if folks still feel the flying experience needs improvement. Excuse me, ma'am, were you able to get a good airfare?
Oh, yes, dear. I just had to leave before noon on the second Saturday of the third month and be sure to return before the new moon entered its fourth phase.
I see. And sir, how was the legroom on your flight?
My analyst told me that being in a fetal position puts me in touch with my inner child.
Well, it's a good thing Jet Train puts flying on the right track. With extra legroom, friendly service, and super low fares like $69 to Pittsburgh and $79 to Orlando, you don't have to work around weird restrictions and cramped quarters just to get a good airfare.
At $79, maybe I should look for my inner child in Orlando.
Jet Train, we put flying on the right track. Call your travel agent or Jet Train at 1-800-FLY-4U. That's 1-800-FLY-4YOU. Seats may be limited. All fares are one-way, non-refundable. Do not include $3 airport tax where applicable.
Dateline July 10th, 1995. Adam Glickman on his first date is about to put his arm around Jennifer McCorkle. Glee Club member, majorette, and unbeknownst to Adam, all-state karate champion. Adam Glickman, you're brave. And where? Chicken! Tyson chicken! Chicken chunks, chicken tenders, chicken patties, all kinds of chicken, all kinds of ways, but no kinds of preservatives, fillers, or artificial flavors. So, Adam Glickman, you may be brave, but at Tyson, where? Chicken!
Political prognosticators used to wait by their radio. Just couldn't wait, couldn't get enough of Bob Grant every Monday through Friday from 3 to 7. And now that you've had to wean yourself off of Bob Grant, as the management here at WABC has announced that the long-term relationship with Bob Grant has ended. That relationship has been terminated by mutual agreement, and they wish Bob well in his future endeavors. So let me make a suggestion of what might fill the void. There's a book out there right now written by an author named Anonymous. That alone should capture your attention. And it has all to do with the primary season that's still the talk of the nation. No, not the one that'll involve, obviously, the finalists of the Democratic Party, Bill Clinton, and the finalist, Bob Dole, but rather the fictionalized version of what over 1 million copies in print in over 10 weeks at the top of the New York Times has produced for the bestseller list. Primary Colors is the book America just can't get enough of. It's the hilarious story of a presidential campaign flying by the seat of its pants and frequently caught with its pants down. Primary Colors, by Anonymous. Publishers Weekly calls it the definitive political novel for these uneasy times. The Washington Post says it's written perfectly. And the New Yorker, cheers, congratulations, Anonymous. Whoever you are, Primary Colors, read it and find out why it is without a doubt the biggest winner of this primary season. Primary Colors is available at bookstores now from Random House. And while you're there, your number one selection should be Let's Be Heard, the Bob Grant story. I haven't gone out and bought it yet, but in honor of Bob, I'm going to buy a few copies, one for my Aunt Mary, my mother, my father, and all that I feel need to read about the history of the greatest talk radio host in the history of talk radio here in New York City. At 6:48, let's go to Bob Del Giorno and Metro Traffic.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Once again, Curtis, we're going to wrap this up with a report of service of Nellie Mae. We'll begin